Welcome to The Deep Dive. We're the show that takes fascinating sources and, well, boils them down to the key insights for you.
That's the plan.
And today, we're diving into Hidden Games by Erez Yoeli. This book, it really flips the script on how we think about human behavior.
It absolutely does.
Our mission here is to sort of unpack the surprising reasons behind why we like certain things or believe certain things or, act in ways that sometimes seem puzzling.
Right. Things like our passions, our sense of justice.
Exactly. And the core idea is these aren't random. They're shaped by these hidden forces, game theory, learning, evolution, stuff happening under the surface. So this deep dive, it's really focused on the why. Why do we do these things? Not just what we do.
Precisely. And the book calls these ultimate explanations. It's trying to get past just our conscious thoughts or feelings
Okay.
to the deeper mechanisms, often unconscious ones, that are actually driving the bus, so to speak. It's about becoming, genuinely well-informed, seeing the hidden logic.
Right. Seeing the world with maybe a sharper lens. Okay, let's get into it. The book starts with some really great examples, thinking about obsessive passion.
Oh, yeah.
People like Bobby Fischer, just consumed by chess, or Itzhak Perlman, he gets polio, teaches himself violin on a toy fiddle, becomes this world-class virtuoso.
Incredible dedication.
Totally. Or Marie Curie, so lost in her science she forgets to eat. Picasso churning out, 50,000 pieces of art?
Yeah, the output is staggering.
So the big question the book asks is, why? Why do these people develop these incredibly intense passions? Meanwhile, most of us struggle just to keep a New Year's resolution going past January.
Oh, yeah, relatable.
And why does Picasso obsess over fighting fascism, even though he hated it? Why wasn't Einstein obsessed with chess instead of physics? How does this passion thing, this maker of greatness, how does it actually work?
And it's not just passion, right? The book points out other puzzles, too, like aesthetics. Why do we value art that seems totally, quote, useless? Or why put tiny Easter eggs in art?
Yep.
And altruism. This one gets me. Why do we pour money into a GoFundMe for a thick pet? Which is understandable emotionally. But maybe overlook that, for less than $5,000, a top charity could literally save a human life.
That's a tough one.
Or think about this. You'd probably feel it's deeply wrong if someone takes $4 from a poor person for coffee. But do you feel the same moral pull about not giving $4 to that same person? Often not.
Interesting distinction.
And the book argues that the easy answers, tannic wines are interesting, or we give because we feel empathy. They're just, they're proximate answers. They don't go deep enough.
So it's looking for the ultimate, the functional reason.
Exactly. How our tastes, our beliefs get optimized, often unconsciously, through learning and evolution.
Okay, so the base idea is that tastes evolve to push us towards good things, like craving fatty or sweet foods back when calories were hard to come by.
Precisely. That craving motivated seeking out high-energy food, which was beneficial for survival then.
Or finding symmetrical faces attractive might have pushed us towards healthier partners.
Right. These are evolved preferences guiding behavior.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is how fast cultural learning can do the same thing.
Faster than evolution, you mean?
Way faster. Think about the Inuit. They figured out how to build incredibly thermally efficient igloos without knowing a thing about physics. Just generations of trial, error, and passing down what worked.
Wow.
Or Native Americans treating corn with alkaline stuff, wood ash, seashells. They didn't know the chemistry, but it massively boosted the nutritional value, preventing deficiency diseases.
They just knew it worked.
They had, as the book calls them, wrong but functional beliefs, like Fijian women avoiding certain fish during pregnancy. They might say it gives babies rough skin, not knowing about the ciguatera toxin, but the behavior protects the baby.
It works.
That's fascinating. And this ties into reinforcement learning, right? Like the B.F. Skinner stuff.
Absolutely. Skinner training that pigeon to spin, rewarding it bit by bit. That's happening to us constantly. Yeah, like potty training with gummy bears or telling jokes that get laughs.
Or picking outfits based on compliments, training your dog. It's all learning through feedback. Rewards and punishments shaping what we do.
Okay.
But here's where it gets interesting. Sometimes these learned things stick around even when the original reason is gone, or they get used in the wrong context. The book calls these lags and spillovers.
Lags and spillovers. Okay, like what?
Well, a lag could be like Indian American families putting curry spices on their Thanksgiving turkey. That taste preference might have originally helped fight foodborne illness in India's climate.
Right.
But it persists now just out of habit or taste, even though the original function is needed in the same way.
Gotcha. And a spillover.
Think of your dog humping your leg. That behavior has a clear biological function, but not in that context.
Okay, definitely misplaced.
Exactly. Or our sense of justice can spill over. Like rejecting a low, but still positive, offer in an anonymous lab game because it feels unfair, even though taking any money is better than none. Our fairness instinct isn't perfectly tuned for that specific weird situation.
Right. It's applying a general rule inappropriately. Okay, so the book gives us some tools to analyze these hidden games, these distinctions.
Yeah, 3 really useful ones. First, primary versus secondary rewards.
Okay.
Primary rewards are the basics, the evolved stuff. Food, water, sex, safety. Secondary rewards are things we learn to value, stamp collecting, job titles, maybe even liking abstract art.
And passions often fall into that secondary category.
Often, yes. But they're usually shaped or driven by the possibility of getting those primary rewards like respect, status, resources which come from mastering the secondary thing.
I see. Okay, distinction number 2.
Proximate versus ultimate explanations. This is crucial. Think of Richard Feynman being asked why magnets repel.
Oh, I love that anecdote.
Right. Or just asking, why did Aunt Minnie slip on the ice? Approximate answer is how it happens. Ice is slippery, or peahens like long tails.
Okay.
But the ultimate, the functional explanation, asks why that mechanism exists. Why did peahens evolve that preference? Why did Native Americans treat corn that way? It's about the deeper purpose or function.
Got it. Deeper why. And the third one, emic versus etic.
Yeah, emic versus etic. The Star Trek Klingon makeup example is perfect.
Okay.
The emic reason, the real out-of-universe reason for the early Klingon look was, frankly, a low-budget shoe polish makeup.
Right.
But fans created emic reasons, elaborate in-universe backstories about Klingon evolution and biology to explain the look.
Okay. The insider justification versus the outsider's true cause.
Exactly. And you see this with cultural justifications for rites or traditions all the time. The reasons people give, emic might be different from the underlying functional reasons they arose and persist.
Okay. These distinctions seem really helpful. Now, game theory comes into play big time, right? Starting with sex ratios.
Definitely. Chapter 4 is all about sex ratios as like the gold standard of game theory and biology. Darwin noticed the 1.1 ratio in humans, horses, lots of species.
It's pretty standard.
But why 1.1? Ronald Fisher's model nailed it. It's a Nash equilibrium. Basically, if one sex became more common, parents producing the rarer sex would have more grandkids, on average.
So it naturally balances out.
Exactly. It pushes back towards 1.1. Even in species like elephant seals, where only a few males mate hugely polygynous, the birth ratio is still 1.1. It's remarkably stable.
That's wild.
And the model even predicts exceptions. Like certain fig wasps have skewed ratios, but for reasons the model actually accounts for based on their weird mating system. It shows the power of the theory.
Okay, cool. Then we get to hawk dove. That sounds like conflict.
It is. It's a model for contests over resources. And the speckled wood butterfly example is just brilliant.
Tell me about the butterflies.
So male butterflies fight over sunny spots to wait for females, prime real estate. But Nick Davies found the owner, the one who was there first, almost always wins.
Even if the intruder is bigger.
Yep. They do this little spiral flight dance, but it's not really a fight of strength. It's more like a convention. The owner signals, I'm the owner. The intruder sees that, expects the owner to fight hard, play hog, and usually just backs off.
Wow. So it's about expectations becoming reality.
Exactly. Self-fulfilling expectations. And this links directly to human property rights.
How so?
Think about grabbing a seat in a theater or the last cupcake. Often, whoever got there first owns it. It seems arbitrary, but that shared expectation, they were first, it's theirs, makes it work. People generally respect it.
Yeah, you don't usually fight over a claimed theater seat.
Right. And you can extend this to abstract rights, too, like free speech or gun rights. If people strongly believe they have a right, they're more likely to defend it, expecting others to yield.
And others might yield because they expect a fight.
Precisely. Shared expectations create these self-sustaining loops. Even apologies matter here. Like the U.S. apologizing to Pakistan, reopened supply lines because it reset expectations about future cooperation.
Okay. But there's a darker side to this power dynamic stuff. Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah, the book tackles that. Things like Stockholm Syndrome or internalized racism or sexism, where people seem to adopt the negative views of their oppressors or captors.
It's completely irrational.
On the surface, yes. But the book argues it can be a grim survival strategy. In situations of extreme, unavoidable power imbalance, believing you're inferior or developing empathy for the dominant party might, tragically, be safer than constantly fighting a battle you absolutely cannot win. It's self-preservation, in a way.
That's a heavy thought. Okay, shifting gears a bit, signaling. Chapter 6 talks about costly signals.
Right. Costly signaling is a huge theme. The basic idea is simple. Signals of quality are believable when they are costly to produce, but less costly for high-quality individuals.
Like the peacock's tail.
The classic example. It takes energy and resources to grow that massive tail, makes you vulnerable to predators. It's costly. But a healthy, strong peacock can afford that cost better than a sickly one. So the tail is a reliable signal of fitness to the peahens.
Makes sense. How does this apply to humans?
All over the place. Think about sugar and spices in Europe centuries ago. They were incredibly expensive, so using them lavishly signaled wealth.
But when they got cheaper.
Exactly. They lost their signaling power among the elite, and tastes shifted. Or the white dress shirt originally, it signaled you didn't do manual labor, you could afford laundry. It was a subtle status signal.
Okay. What about art authenticity? Why queue to see the real Mona Lisa?
That's explained as a costly signal, too. A perfect replica gives you the same visual information, maybe even better if you're crowded at the Louvre. But seeing the original,
It signals something else.
it signals access, maybe status, maybe a deep appreciation. But the authenticity is the key. It's scarce and undeniable. The signal value outweighs the direct utility of just seeing the image. And the same logic applies to elaborate etiquette. It signals you were brought up right, which is hard to fake convincingly if you weren't. Or even intricate rap lyrics signaling linguistic skill.
And religious rules, like really strict ones.
Those can be powerful, costly signals of commitment. Adhering to demanding rules, like in Chabad Hasidism, or engaging in practices like self-flagellation, shows you're truly dedicated. It deters free riders who aren't willing to pay the cost, and that fosters strong group cooperation.
Wow, okay. So signals are usually about showing off desirable traits. But then there's Chapter 7, buried signals. Hiding good traits. Why?
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive, right? Modesty, anonymous charity, playing it cool, that Japanese aesthetic of shibui or subtle beauty.
Why would you hide the good stuff?
The clever argument is that burying the signal is itself a signal, a kind of meta signal.
How does that work?
It can signal that you have so many good qualities you can afford not to broadcast all of them. Like a super rich person living modestly, it implies their wealth is so secure they don't need to flaunt it.
Okay, I think I get it. It's like a quiet confidence signal.
Exactly. Or in relationships, it can signal you're in it for the long haul, willing to let traits be discovered gradually, not needing immediate validation. Think of artists like the pianist Sokolov. Technically brilliant, but sometimes he holds back, burying flourishes, signaling supreme mastery that doesn't need to shout. Or anonymous donors signaling genuine altruism, not seeking credit.
Fascinating. Okay, let's talk about spin. Evidence games, Chapter 8. How we manipulate information.
Right. The book highlights 3 main ways we spin. First, biased revelation, basically showing only the good stuff.
Like Instagram feeds.
Perfect example. Or cable news focusing only on facts that support their narrative. Politicians' speeches. Corporate earnings calls. Remember Tim Cook touting a biggest June quarter while glossing over an iPhone revenue drop. That's biased revelation.
Gotcha. What's next?
Biased search. This is when you actively look only for evidence that confirms what you already want to believe or argue.
Like the lead up to the Iraq War.
The book uses that example. The administration kept pushing intelligence agencies for links between Saddam and al-Qaeda, downplaying evidence that contradicted the case for war. The goal seemed to be selling the war, not objective assessment.
Right. And the third type of spin.
Confirmatory testing. This one hits close to home for academics sometimes. It's designing your research or interpreting data in ways that are more likely to confirm your hypothesis.
Even unintentionally.
Can be. Leads to things like the replication crisis, where findings don't hold up, running multiple tests, but only reporting the significant one, or stopping early when you get the result you want.
Yikes. But people aren't totally naive, right? We know others spin.
Absolutely. Receivers usually anticipate spin and adjust their beliefs accordingly. Think about online dating profiles and height exaggeration.
Yeah, everyone assumes people add an inch or two.
Right. Senders lie a bit, receivers expect it, and it reaches a kind of equilibrium. You can't lie too much or it becomes unbelievable. Receivers account for the expected spin.
Okay, this makes sense, which leads nicely into motivated reasoning. We don't just spin info for others, we spin it for ourselves.
Pretty much. We tend to be overconfident, Think we're better than average drivers, smarter,
For
healthier.
the Lake Wobegon effect.
Exactly. And we do asymmetric updating. We readily accept good news. Wow, I scored well. But tend to ignore, dismiss, or scrutinize bad news. This health test must be wrong.
Guilty as charged.
Studies show this clearly. People overestimate their IQ, take longer to accept negative medical results, and there's attitude polarization, show ambiguous evidence to people with opposing views, and they often both become more convinced they were right.
They interpret it through their own lens.
Totally. So why? Why this motivated reasoning? The book pushes this idea of internalized persuasion,
Meaning.
meaning it's strategically advantageous to genuinely believe the things you need to persuade others of. It makes you a more convincing salesperson, lawyer, politician, whatever.
Like Steve Jobs' reality distortion field, he seemed to truly believe his own hype.
Classic example. Or Rex Tillerson, when he was ExxonMobil CEO, arguing humans couldn't really stop climate change. A belief that perfectly aligned with his need to defend fossil fuels. Believing it makes the argument more compelling.
So our beliefs are sometimes shaped by our need to persuade others.
That's the argument. Your internal beliefs shift depending on whether your priority is accuracy or persuasion. Investors needing accurate climate models for financial bets. They use the best science. Someone arguing against climate action for political reasons. Their persuasion motive might shape their beliefs differently. Same with seniors during COVID having skin in the game boosted their belief in vaccines because accuracy was paramount for their health.
So it's not just about feeling good, it's strategic belief formation.
That's the core idea. It explains why some biased beliefs are so persistent they serve a persuasive function.
Okay, shifting again. Let's talk cooperation, prisoner's dilemma stuff.
Yep, Chapter 10, The Repeated Prisoner's Dilemma. The basic insight is that cooperation can emerge and stick around if the relationship is ongoing, if the shadow of the future is long enough.
If you know you'll interact again.
Exactly. Then it pays to be cooperative, or at least conditionally cooperative, like tit for tat.
Are there good real-world examples?
Oh yeah. The spontaneous truces in the World War I trenches are a famous one. Units tacitly agreed not to shell each other's mealtimes, sometimes even warned each other of real attacks ordered from above.
Wow, because they knew they'd be facing each other tomorrow.
Right. Or vampire bats sharing blood meals they're more likely to share with a bat that previously shared with them when they were starving. Reciprocity in action.
Okay, so cooperation can emerge. But how are social rules or norms actually enforced?
That's Chapter 11, Norm Enforcement. A lot of it comes down to third-party punishment, people punishing norm violators even if they weren't directly harmed. And observability is key.
Making sure people can see what you do.
Yeah. Compare the Met Museum asking for donations via a sign-up sheet versus Tate Modern just having donation boxes. The Met's method, making contributions, or lack thereof, observable, likely increases compliance. Or think about apps helping TB patients log their medication. It makes adherence visible to their support network.
Visibility increases pressure.
Definitely. And history is full of strong norm enforcement. Golden Age pirates had written codes with specific punishments enforced by the crew. The Mafia's omerta, police blue wall of silence. Maine lobster fishermen cutting the traps of rivals who break local rules. Shasta County cattlemen relying on neighborly norms enforced by gossip or potential retaliation if someone doesn't return stray cattle promptly.
So how does the punishment work? Is it always costly to the punisher?
Not necessarily. Sometimes punishing signals the punisher's own commitment to the norm, boosting their reputation. Think of online pylons. Other times, punishment might actually benefit the punisher, like reporting rivals to authorities in certain regimes. It's complex.
Okay. Then there's this idea of higher-order beliefs and categorical norms, like human rights for everyone.
Right. Why do we often have these broad, categorical rules, all humans deserve rights, or, grimly, the one-drop rule in Jim Crow South? The argument is that categorical rules are easier to coordinate enforcement on.
Easier than what?
Easier than rules based on continuous variables, especially when information is messy or private. Trying to agree on exactly how much sentience grants rights or precisely what shade of skin triggers discrimination. It's much harder to get consistent agreement and enforcement than a simple, clear category.
Ah, so categories simplify coordination.
Exactly, which is why marriage is usually categorical, eligible, but dating can be continuous based on attraction. Public cues, like tipping norms, allow for more continuous adjustments because the behavior is visible.
And symbolic gestures fit in here. Handshakes, apologies.
Yes. Why do mere words like an apology or actions like a handshake or a coronation matter so much? Because they are public, observable, undeniable signals. They create common knowledge. Everyone knows that everyone else saw it and knows its meaning. This allows expectations to shift in a coordinated way.
Okay. This also explains weird moral quirks, like we feel worse about doing harm than allowing harm, the omission commission thing.
Right, like the tragic case of the MV Struma, a ship of Jewish refugees towed back out to sea by Turkey during WWII, where they later perished. The inaction felt less morally culpable to many than direct action would have, or indirect communication saying something politely or ambiguously. Perhaps you'd like to reconsider. It works because intent is harder to pin down, allowing deniability while still sending a message.
Plausible deniability.
Okay, now just in feuds. Why do conflicts escalate, like the Hatfields and McCoys? It seems irrational to keep fighting over spilt milk.
That's the paradox. Chapter 14 tackles using subgame perfection. Yes, punishing someone after they've wronged you is costly and doesn't undo the harm. But
Not punishing signals you can be exploited again in the future. Appeasing Hitler didn't work. It arguably emboldened him. So, the willingness to punish, even at a cost, serves as a deterrent for future interactions.
so it's about establishing future credibility.
Exactly. Even things like duels, in their historical context, could be seen as a mechanism to allow for credible deterrence without spiraling into constant violence, a costly signal of one's willingness to defend honor.
And what about moral luck? Why does the outcome matter so much in our judgments, like the drunk driver example?
Right. A drunk driver who luckily hits no one gets a much lighter sentence than one who, through sheer bad luck, kills someone, even if their level of recklessness was identical. Our justice intuitions often focus heavily on outcomes, not just intent or risk, partly because outcomes are easier to observe and agree upon than internal states or probabilities. It connects back to the limits of enforcement in an imperfect world.
Our sense of justice isn't perfectly rational, it's shaped by what's enforceable.
That seems to be a key takeaway.
Okay, bring it full circle. Back to passion. Chapter 15 connects it back to rewards.
Yes, it revisits passion, framing it as this intense investment of time and effort, driven by the potential payoff in primary rewards: respect, status, money, fame.
So passion isn't purely internal.
Not entirely. It's a trade-off. You invest heavily, hoping for those big rewards. This leads to predictions.
Yeah.
You're less likely to develop a passion for something nobody values socially, like, say, competitive tidying versus chess.
Right.
Passions thrive in superstar economies, where the rewards for being the best are huge. Think NBA players or top musicians. And you're more likely to develop one if you have a realistic shot at reaching the top tier. Talent and opportunity matter.
It sounds like grit too, perseverance.
Exactly. Grit is seen as that costly investment in skill building, fueled by the expectation of future rewards. And it's sensitive to feedback and perceived odds of success.
What about that weird finding where paying people for fun tasks makes them less interested later, the crowding out effect?
Yeah, Edward Dici's classic puzzle experiments. When you pay people for something intrinsically enjoyable, it can sometimes undermine that internal motivation. The external reward replaces the internal one. When the payment stops, the motivation might drop below where it started. It shows a complex interplay between internal drives and external incentives.
Wow. Okay, that covers a lot of ground. What an incredible framework Hidden Games offers.
It really does. It forces you to look beyond the surface reasons people give and consider the underlying strategic logic shaped by evolution, learning, and game theory.
It reveals the surprising logic behind so much of what seems irrational: passions, biases, morals, social norms.
Absolutely. Once you start thinking in terms of these hidden games, these signals, these payoffs, you really do start to see social dynamics, culture, even your own choices in a completely new light. It makes things make sense in a deeper way.
It's quite powerful. So, a final thought for you, our listener. The next time you see some puzzling human behavior, maybe something you do yourself or something in the news, or just watching people pause for a second.
Yeah, ask yourself,
What's the hidden game here? Is there a costly signal being sent? Is there an underlying strategic reason, maybe unconscious, for this seemingly odd belief or action? How does thinking about that hidden game change how you understand it? And maybe, how might it change how you act? Something to chew on.